Gary, always great to see you. Good morning, Mr. Griffith, and I look forward to our dialogue because there is so much swirling around via the news cycle and in the public domain, and the best person to really get clarity and to understand what's happening is from the man himself, the source. So we thank you for coming on.
Always my pleasure. Good morning to you and to your many viewers.
That's right. So, Gary, I'm watching some of the developments. NTA takes on about 10 constituencies. As a matter of fact, well, you know, naturally, UNC, PNM, I guess the more established, the mainstream parties there. I'm not suggesting that you're not a mainstream party, but I'm just saying that these two major entities obviously going for most of the seats. So I guess the initial question is there going to be some kind of collaboration via your accommodation? As a matter of fact, that accommodation is still alive based on some of the utterances from the opposition leader last week, Monday? Or is it a NTA going up against UNC, PNM, and all others via these 10 seats you would have put out? What's the latest, sure, Gary?
Yeah, sure. Well, it is not, nothing is cast in stone as yet. It is still very fluid. I am wondering, JW, is there anyone who has a contact number for if there's something called a political marriage counselor? I think we need that in Trinidad and Tobago. Anytime you have all of these political parties, not the PNM, when it started in 1980, in the 1980s, it was ONR versus the ULF. Then it was the UNC versus the NAR, of which Kamala Prasad-Bissessar was part of. Other people are aware that she actually went up against the UNC. I think she lost the deposit. And then it became the UNC versus Team Unity that caused the UNC to lose the election, 1818. It then moved to the UNC versus the Congress of the People, and now the UNC with the NTA. So we need to have some sort of a political marriage counselor, because we continue to see these situations of difference in opinion and so forth. But the fact of the matter is that whether it is known as the ONR, the NAR, the COP, the NTA, that bridge constituency, we are not here to deliberately go out of our way to what they call split the votes to help the PNM. Anytime there's usually have this third party, you will see the PNM winning more seats, especially in the marginal seat areas. And likewise, we are not here as an avenue to help another political party defeat the PNM for it to be solely a UNC government. And we would have seen in 2010 to 2015, the People's Partnership, they achieved. When you look at the number of things that would have been achieved by the People's Partnership in almost every aspect of the state, they performed and performed well. However, they were still removed from office in 2015 as soon as it became a virtual UNC government that they were looking to get back in office. And that is the strength of that bridge constituency. Whatever they decide to do dictates the outcome of the election. And you would have seen that last year, the local government election, it worked. It is only a streak of madness if something is working, you decide to change it. It worked where there were 60,000 more votes for the UNC and NTA, that coalition against the PNM in the local government election. It meant that for every 5 votes, 3 voted for the UNC or the NTA candidate and 2 voted for the PNM. That's bad licks. You will see that, and then all of a sudden you decide to change. 3 times before the cock crowed this year, in the last 5 months, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar has openly attacked us. And you know, the one thing that UNC, many of the UNC diehard supporters are good at is that anytime there's a difference of opinion, here's a PNM. We've seen it with Parry and the Slate, we've seen it with everyone else. You're always a PNM if it is you don't do exactly as the UNC wants. We have not in any way shown any type of animosity, arrogance, bullying, demands, or anything like that with the UNC. Nothing. In fact, we actually wrote officially to the UNC several months ago. We wrote to the political leader, the chairman, Dave Tanku, the general secretary. And it seems that these individuals, their parents never taught them basic manners, that if you get correspondence, have the basic common courtesy to acknowledge receipt of the correspondence. That is what we have to face.
Well, Gary,
yes.
I'll tell you this, and I'll let you continue, but, you know, from my sources, I'm hearing a bit different. So,
yeah, sure.
Now, the reality is you've been part of that camp, so you must understand the nature and the personality of the opposition leader. I mean, a matter of fact, when the accommodation was really at its peak, you all sat side by side, shoulder to shoulder, the center of excellence. So all seemed to be going well. But from what at least I'm hearing, there is the suggestion that you sometimes speak out of turn, Gary, and that you're asking for senior members to be sidelined for you to be given favor. More so, Julian John. That is what I've been hearing via some of the whispers in the corridor. I would love for you to really elaborate.
Yeah, sure. And that is the whispers by UNC diehard supporters that just want to lie. I challenge anyone to show where it is we ever made any demands, we ever demanded anyone be removed. Some of these people, I think their favorite singer is Lionel Richie. They love to lie. They, at no time have we ever shown any degree. So, but that is what they do. It's the same thing like the PNM, where Keith Rowley will say the same lie, whether it is email hate, firearms. Politicians of Keith Rowley and Kamala Prasad, so which, by the way, the one thing they unite against is their fear of the support of Gary Griffith, because having Gary Griffith with 79% national support, and both of them as major political leaders in the two major parties never got more than 50%, it seems that there's a problem with me. So at least they unite on that. But at no time have we ever, it started in March this year when Kamala Prasad says, out of the blue just jumped on a platform. Who are you all? What you bring to the table? How many votes you have? That was a typical Basio Pandey comment in 2007 that caused the COP to get 147,000 votes. She then jumped up the Monday before the by-election for 2 seats, and then jumped up, leave Jolene John alone. And we weren't saying anything about Jolene John. Where did that come from? What happened, however, is the maths. The maths is that when it is that the NTA supporters voted for the UNC candidates in those 2 seats, especially Indian Walk, it was a tie. 6 months later, or several months later, without the NTA, from a tie, you lost by 600 votes. Therein lies the strength of that bridge constituency. And then the third time, again, 3 times before the cockroach, she just jumped up and started calling me a failure when just 8 months ago, when we were holding hands, yellow and blue, like a real carrot bottle of Fatima College football team, praising me as the greatest thing since sliced bread. So at no time have I ever, go back and check, at no time have I ever said anything. The only concern that we do have is that almost every single person in the UNC, they're fully aware that without an alliance or a strategic alliance, the UNC have never won an election on their own in a 3-horse race. Never.
Well, I remember Michaela was on with me a couple of weeks ago, and she mentioned that, well, UNC actually won straight out when her dad was at the helm. Was that was that 95, was it?
Yeah, no, it was. Again, I don't make mistakes. I do my research. Listen to my words again. The UNC have never won an election on its own in a 3-horse race. When Basio Pandey won that election in 2000, he was bright enough to understand to absorb that bridge constituency. He brought in the Carlos John, the Jerry Etnings, the Moving Assam, the Gillettes, the Python. So the COP type persons, the ONR type persons.
Oh, yes. Okay.
They moved to Basio Pandey.
Yes, you did say 3-horse race. Yeah, I understood.
Yes, as soon as a third party was formed a year later under Ramesh Maharaj with Team Unity, the man got 188 votes.
Well, let me ask you, do you think that UNC at this current point, is there the strength of that particular 95 run? Do you think they can stand on their own going into the next cycle? I mean, what's the bigger plan? Because, I mean, there are many political scientists suggesting here that really and truly it is going to be a 2-horse race for the next cycle, and everybody else coming in, just marking time, as it were, and they'll have to obviously really put in some more work. And remember, Gary, if you recall, when you launched your party, my very first question to you, I remember our conversation would have been probably at the very start of this political journey with NTA. I remember asking you, are you in for the long haul, Gary? This is a long distance,
Yeah, no, we definitely would be. And again, you would have seen that the comments, as I said, the comments being made by the UNC, it is again similar to political domestic violence. You want to make nasty comments, attack us, question our credibility, our worth, and then after you want us to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I understand the UNC's game plan. It is very strategic. They want 21 seats to have a UNC government. And as I said, I would have mentioned that the People's Partnership, they performed. But when it is that the UNC decided to go on their own in 2015 and 2020, that 150,000 of that bridge constituency, many of them either went back to the PNM or decided not to vote. So there would be only that bridge constituency that would say, look, I want to remove the PNM, but I'm really not comfortable with the UNC. I think the vast majority of the country wants to have the PNM removed, but they want to ensure that there are checks and balances by persons such as myself and the NTA that will make sure that the government is kept in check. And there may be persons in the UNC who have a problem with it. I stood firm against live sport. I stood firm to say that I would not lie in a court matter with the PCA head. When it is that someone was trying to give gang leaders to bill to get a contract to build a police station. I stood firm on that. So people do have a problem with Gary Griffith, and they have a right to be, because I stand firm on integrity, transparency, and doing what is right for my country. I stood firm against the present Prime Minister when it is that the government wanted to give me the impression, try to allude that I must arrest persons in their home, which would have been breach of their constitutional rights. So all of that is going on. At no time have we ever made any statement to challenge, to make any demands to the UNC. However, as I said, the vast majority of the UNC supporters are fully aware they cannot win on their own, except for maybe one person who was very strongly aligned to the PNM pre-2010. It is for Kamla Persad to decide what to do, but making these allegations, I think, is inappropriate. Let me quickly add, as it pertains to whether the UNC can win alone, that is not my business. We have our job to do, they have theirs.
Yeah.
But the math is there. You got 300,000 votes in 2020 when you had full control of the rank and file of the UNC. In that internal election by the UNC, you lost 25% of your base support. That's what they call the grassroots, the trenches, those persons. That was with Paris Slate. So if you have lost 25% of your base support and you got 19 seats with 300,000, you're certainly not going to get 21 seats with 225,000. It shows that that bridge constituency has now gone into the heart of the UNC. And all it takes is a little bit of appreciation and respect, mutual respect. I am going to demand mutual respect. The Congress of the People, they were totally destroyed because of that lack of respect, and that is why they were virtually eliminated. I have no intention to disrespect that bridge constituency.
Indeed. I want to get some details concerning screening, but I'll come to that in a few. Let me just ask really fast. Is there room for reconciliation at all? Because I know, obviously, you said, lots was said, it seems and comes across a bit disrespectful. You've described it as political, domestic violence via the words. But granted, that happens within the political journey. Is there still that room for dialogue, reconciliation, and a chance to maintain this accommodation that you spoke so highly of a couple of months ago?
Definitely. And the reason it would be cemented is on two things. Firstly, it is not going to be based on marriage of convenience, where we're just joining up together to defeat the PNM. We've been there, we've done that. We saw it in 1986, we saw it in 2010. That bridge constituency of those, people call them the knife and fork persons, the middle income, those persons who are not PNM or UNC till they die. And nothing against that. The 200 per thousand on both sides, that is your right, I respect you for it. So what I am working on, we are working on, is to ensure that there's a roadmap towards the transformation of Trinidad and Tobago, not just joining up to defeat the PNM. Okay. Additionally, what I think caused the collapse of the Congress of the People is failure to do what I am doing now, what we are doing now, making sure we stand firm and not state that, listen, we'll just help you get 21 seats to have a UNC government. And that is what caused the collapse of the COP.
And in that regard, what's happening via this screening? I know you said it's not in stone just yet, these 10 constituencies that were mentioned. Let me again go through some of them fast. We're talking San Fernando West, Talparo, La Ocata, Tunapuna, Barataria, San Juan, Chaguanas East, just to name a few. Is the screening process already up and running?
Well, yes, and the list of candidates is long and distinguished, and you will hear about it soon. And there are other seats already. We have confirmed custodians. If it is that there's no alliance, the name of the custodian will change the candidate. So we are not sitting back idly by in the perception that, well, who are you or what you all bring to the table? What we bring to the table is what caused the ULF to lose miserably in 1981 with the ONR. It is what caused the UNC to lose in 1991 with the NAR. It caused the UNC to lose 25-16, I think, or 26-15 in 2007. That is the power of the bridge constituency. We are not bullying ourselves. We are fully aware and respect the UNC for what they have and the support that they have. They have 19 seats. But you want 21 seats, you need that bridge constituency. But we are not going cap in hand begging for handouts. Likewise, we are not going to be part of you contact and abusing us, saying the nastiest things on our platform. But what we saw now is even Sunday night, now they actually decided to wear blue. And that was all. So it's a chess game that's being played. But I give the promise to the country, because of us dealing with the issues now, clearing it up now, it will ensure that when we get in government, it is going to be one of the best governments the country has ever seen. I am not Winston Dukran or Prakash Ramadan, nothing against those two individuals. Brilliant statesmen. But I think what happened is that we allowed this type of political domestic violence to take place. Listen, on Monday, she just started attacking me with full force. They were lies. They were lies. I mean, the comments she made about people being a failure, the data is there. 79% of the population said that there was full confidence in myself. So to make those comments, it seems that they're getting rather emotional. I will ask everyone to tone it down. We are continuing to work on the marginal seats. And again, there are other seats, Lupino, Bonnier, the Port of Spain seats, Port of Spain, Arima. We have possible candidates. So we are ready to go to the races.
Well, let's keep the conversation going, Gary. At some point, I'm sure we'll get a chance to touch base again soon. And thanks for the clarification and for coming on this morning to set the record straight. All the best.
My pleasure. Take care.